we'll go ahead and get started, guys. Thanks so much for attending the HubSpot Video Marketing Study Group. So this is our office hours presentation. We typically do these every 2 weeks or so, unless we're doing a hug event in the between them. But every 2 weeks, we'll be basically giving off these office hours, giving off tips and tricks, talking about the study group a little bit, and just basically everything that's involved within the study group. So let's go ahead and get started here. All right. And while I'm presenting, go ahead and tell us in the chat, who you are, where you're from, and what would you like to get out of these presentations? The feedback has been really great so far. We've gotten a lot of questions so far, and we're able to kind of slide those questions into each presentation. So definitely let us know in the chat any questions you may have, and we'll also conduct a Q&A towards the end of this presentation and answer all your questions there. So just introducing ourselves here. I'm Aaron Oberdick. I'm a multimedia specialist here at Nextiny Marketing.
Hi, and I'm Isabella Rodriguez. I'm the video marketing manager here at Nextiny Marketing.
All right, and we're going to talk a little bit about our hug events. So we just did a hug event 2 weeks ago, and that's going to be videos you need to make for your business. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. Isabella's going to drop a link here in the chat and you can check that out. But we have another hug event upcoming. That's going to be on October 28th, and that's going to be covering measure the success of your video marketing efforts. So we've done hug events basically all throughout the year focused on video, and we've kind of walked it through the same line as a video production. So our first hug event was very focused on pre-production. Then we kind of worked our way into the production levels and talked about what you should be doing while you're shooting and the videos you should be creating. Then we talked a little bit about post-production and how you should take that on. And then this hug is basically going to cover everything you do after the video is completed. So we're talking about key metrics to pay attention to, optimization opportunities based on those statistics, and then, any free tools to help measure performance. So definitely register for that hug event upcoming on October 28th. All right, so let's pop over into the agenda here. What we're going to be covering today, basically some video marketing trends and updates like we always talk about. So software, specifically Descript, which we've spoken about in previous office hours. They had a really big update, so I'm going to share a lot of new features that they've showed off yesterday. And then we'll talk about some questions in the study group that really caught my eye. And several people are asking these questions. So we're going to go over exactly how to relieve all of these issues that everyone's having within the study group. And again, if you haven't joined the study group, definitely join and we will answer all questions there. So let's jump straight into the first section here. That's going to be the Descript Season 1 update. Now, like I just mentioned, we've talked about Descript a little bit on this office hours platform, and it's a really great video editing platform, but not only video, also audio. So this is going to be great for all videos you create, but also podcasts or any other audio work you need to perform. Descript is also really great for beginners as well as professionals. So when they started pretty recently, it was pretty stripped down and a very basic editor, but it's really come a long way, and they've added a lot of features to kind of give it that professional feel while still maintaining that easeability of use. So definitely we recommend Descript when editing videos. And I'm going to jump in and just kind of talk about all of their updates that they've done. Now, I want to talk a little bit. Descript used to do something very similar to this office hours format. They used to do a video every 2 weeks where they would share all their updates. And kind of as they grew, it felt maybe a little bit too frequent. And so they kind of took a step back, realized what they need to accomplish. And now they're rolling out an update every 3 months. So every quarter of the year, they're going to roll out a new update and talk about that. And I think that's just a little bit more of a viable option for them as they grow. So let's talk about the first update that they've created, and that's towards their studio sound. So what exactly is studio sound? This is a feature within Descript, and basically it enhances the speaker's voices while reducing and removing background noise, room echo, and just any other sounds you really don't want. We know everyone doesn't have a fancy studio to record audio. we also know, you might not even have an enclosed quiet space, and hey, you might not have a high-end microphone, right? You might find yourself in a scenario where you need to record audio with video and just the settings aren't ideal. So Studio Sound, they've put out several updates that are really nice. The first one's going to be they've moved from beta to full feature. So they've kind of opened up all these options. They've opened up some adjustment dials that you can play around with, turn up the intensity or drop it down if it sounds. But the really cool feature now is you can do this while recording live. So within Descript, you open up the application, and let's say you want to record a podcast or record a video recording. Go ahead and apply Studio Sound directly to the recording, and it'll implement that straight in. Event like this, we could implement Studio Sound directly on top of that, and it would sound better. So just a little bit of features that they improved on with Studio Sound there. And I want to show you an example here now of Studio Sound. It's basically from a video from the 1939 State Fair. It's really cool. They can take an old video and strip all of the unnecessary sounds in audio. So let me show you this example here.
When the New York World's Fair opened its gates to the world, it was apparent from the beginning that General Motors Highways and Horizons... When the New York World's Fair opened its gates to the world, it was apparent from the beginning that General Motors Highways and Horizons exhibit would prove that...
All right, so that's just one example of Studio Sound. Like I said, they took a little bit of an older clip and just improved on the audio quality. But again, there's so many uses for that. Of course, if you're not in an ideal condition, you can apply Studio Sound, or let's say you don't have the right microphone, apply Studio Sound. There's just so many uses for it. So I highly recommend looking at those updates and just researching that a little bit. So the next update that we're going to talk about from Descript is going to be Overdub. So Overdub is really interesting. It basically lets you create a text-to-speech model of your voice, or you can select one from the stock voices that they've provided. So you've probably heard, the Apple or Amazon devices that speak to you. They're a little bit robotic. They sound a little bit automated. And Overdub basically does that, but they're working on constantly improving it to where it doesn't sound as robotic or automated. So they, they convert the words you type into audio that sounds just like you, and it's easier than re-recording over, making any small mistakes, or let's say you misspeak. Obviously, it's much easier to just go and do Overdub than re-recording that entire video. Now, the really cool thing about Overdub is that they removed the wobble from the generated voice. Now, you might be thinking, what is wobble in generated voice? Well, you've probably heard those devices that speak to you in your home. They kind of sound automated, like I mentioned. They have a wobble in their voice. And so what Overdub has been working on really hard is kind of removing that automation, removing that robotic sound. And I'm going to give you another example here that shows exactly that.
Did you know he is advertising his ham radio equipment for sale this weekend? It cost us $100,000 and 30 days lost time to fix them. Did you know he is advertising his ham radio equipment for sale this weekend? It cost us $100,000 and 30 days lost time to fix them.
All right, so hopefully you guys can hear the big difference there. That version 2.0 really wobbles a lot. And then as the version 3.0 comes in, they've really maintained that level and made it sound more human-like. So that's really cool. Now, one last feature, I'm going to actually pop back to the previous slide here that I do want to talk about with Overdub is you used to have to read a 20 to 30 minute script that they wrote, and it's you uploaded your audio file directly into, and it would take a while to automate that and create your Overdub voice. Now you can take any pre-existing video that you've spoken on, go ahead and upload it directly into Overdub, and it'll generate your Overdub voice. So that's a really cool feature, and any video that you continuously upload, so the more you upload, the better your Overdub voice will become. So definitely check those two features out from Descript. I want to reiterate, it is a free product, so you can try all this stuff for free. They also do have paid services, but it is free to try. So definitely go check that out. All right, we're going to skip over.
Did you know he is advertising his ham radio equipment for...
Okay, so let's jump directly into the study group questions that we've been receiving now. So hopefully the Descript information gives you a little bit to check out, but we're going to jump kind of into these FAQs that we've been receiving on the study group. The first one here is, I don't have LED lights to make myself bright. How do I fix my dark screen? So this is a really common thing we get. And I think this kind of pertains to the last office hours we did, where I talked about the pillars of video and what you should have essential in all of your videos. Lighting was one of those things. And I really emphasized making sure you have some sort of light. I talked about LED lights kind of being the ideal use for that. But what happens if you don't have LED lights, right? You need to record right now. You can't go to the store and buy anything. What is going to be the solution for that? So we created this here to just talk about what you can accomplish without an LED light, right? So the first option is going to be using a window and making sure that that window is directly in front of you, because you want all of that light to kind of flood in and fill your face. Now, this is going to be, very situational, right? Because you don't want the sun directly beaming on you, especially if you have glasses like me. It'll be very reflective. So what you can do is you can use a diffuser of some sort. You can see there from bullet 3, a shower curtain, or even a thin sheet. And basically what that will do is it'll make the light a little less intense. And it'll also kind of spread that light out nice and even across your face and make it really soft. So that's just one solution you can use. Now, what happens if you don't have a window? Use any sort of desk lamp, or light shade. You can remove the lamp shade directly off to have the bulb exposed. And then again, using some sort of bed sheet or shower curtain to diffuse that light and make it nice and soft will give you that light as well. And then let's say you just have overlight lights. There's literally nothing else you can use. That's okay too. Some people I've even seen take a cardboard box and take a nice flat surface. They'll wrap it in tin foil, and then they'll have the light reflected at a 45-degree angle. So as the light comes down, it hits the reflection and bounces onto you. So there's so many different options you can use for lighting, but I always recommend just finding some sort of light. It'll definitely improve the video in that regard. Now, the last bullet point I want to touch on, because I saw this in the study group, don't use a fireplace or an open flame. This was recommended to somebody. I just wanted to say that's not a great idea. Might be, probably hazard first. You don't want to do that. But second, a flame flickers, right? And you don't want your face flickering. If I have a light here and it's constantly flickering, it's more annoying than anything. So definitely don't use any light source that doesn't maintain that same light.
One thing I'll add to that, Aaron, is, and for most people, this might be a given, but even if you do have light in front of you, you're well lit, you have a ring light, whatever it might be, if you have a strong source of light behind you, it will ruin the lighting of the entire frame as well. So try to avoid having a window behind you or even a lamp right behind you, because especially the webcams, what they're going to do is they're going to try to absorb that light, and then everything else will kind of just black out. So just try to keep any light away from behind you in the frame as well.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. You definitely don't want to silhouette yourself. So definitely keep the light away from behind you. So thank you for that, Isabella.
Sure thing.
All right, moving on to the second question here that I saw. Sometimes it takes me several tries before I feel comfortable with recording myself. How can I fix this? And this is something we've all gone through. And I just want to reiterate that you're not the only person that feels nervous in front of a camera. We all do it. So definitely practice and practice and practice. But we do have a few things here that will alleviate that. And let's talk a little bit about teleprompters. So teleprompters, you may have seen them. Obviously, news anchors and use them. Other people on TV use them. You can also use them at home. So, they have industrial size teleprompters, but you can get something as easy on your phone. There's plenty of apps out there to check out that are free or paid. So they have different benefits and different features, but we use a free teleprompter app. It's super easy. You can adjust the size of the text, and you can also adjust the speed at what it moves there. And it's a great starting point as a guide. So this is a really good way to kind of just focus on a script, focus on just making yourself better on camera, and overall just improving that presence. So it's a really good starting point for that. You can see the picture there. That's actually Gabriel's setup for when he shoots video for us. So he's got the teleprompter just under the lens there. So it looks like he's basically looking right at the lens, but he still has that source to be able to work off of and kind of touch on his key points when he's doing any sort of video. So teleprompters are a great way to just kind of alleviate that stress when recording on video. All right, hopping over to the third question here. I already own a digital camera. Can I use this as a webcam? So this question, I've seen this question 100 times, and it's kind of hard to answer that question specifically without looking at your camera, but we're going to touch on some broad tips here. The first things first, plug it in and test it, right? It may work, it may not work, but there are so many cameras out there that are just compatible with certain computers, and you plug it in and it works. That's amazing. And if it works that way, then awesome. Typically, the most common connections are going to be a micro or mini USB. So definitely try that first. If you're looking at your camera and you're saying, I don't know any of these sort of outputs, I don't understand them, what you can do is just do a Google search of your camera's model and then video output. Typically, you'll find the first link or the manufacturer's link, and it'll tell you all of the outputs. Typically, it'll say micro USB out or micro HDMI out, something of that nature. If nothing pops up, your camera might not have a video output, and then it's not compatible as a webcam. But if something pops up, then we can figure out a way to use it as a webcam for sure. Third is search for specifications on the manufacturer's website. So if you're thinking about, a lot of manufacturers have specific applications to their cameras. So for example, Sony has an imaging capture device application that you can download. Once you download it and plug in your Sony camera, then it automatically detects with that app. So definitely find the specific application if it's associated to your camera. And then last, make sure you just download download onto your phone. There's a lot of cameras that are directly compatible with your phone. And so you can do like that wireless setup to connect with your computer. So there's a lot of different connections, and it's hard to kind of hone in on a specific point, but open up all of these avenues to figure out if your camera is working as a webcam with your computer.
Definitely had some trial and error when we were trying to get that, locked down. I have a Panasonic GH4 at my house, and I had trouble figuring out what was the right capture device, the right cord, and finally it came down to there's actually a Panasonic app, and that was the only easy way to do it. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of playing around, but every camera is a little different. There's not one solution for all of them, but I just dropped into the chat. If any of you have questions about your setup, your camera, we're happy to help in the study group. We can help you kind of find a solution, or maybe someone else in the community might jump in and help as well. So
absolutely. And I see Gabriel's asking the question. There are also boxes that turn the video signal for the computer. Yeah, that's correct. So there's video capture devices. A lot of newer DSLR cameras, they output a video, but it's not able to be directly picked up by the computer. And so there's a box that you can add kind of in between to convert that signal to be read by the computer. So those are called video capture devices. That's just another solution that's available out there for a lot of digital cameras. All right, and then moving on to another question. My webcam doesn't look like it's good quality, so how can I fix that? So we have just a few solutions here for adjusting your webcam quality. Of course, again, a little bit of a broad question, but I wanted to touch on it and just kind of aim you in the right direction when you're looking to improve that. So the first thing is going to be, lighting. Again, as we discussed in that previous slide, lighting is crucial to the quality video feed. But another thing is your angles. So there's might be an opportunity to angle your computer a little bit more straight on. You can see my angle is pretty dead on from my eyeballs to the webcam. And so you want to have that eyeball level. If you're too high, it kind of is looking up at your chin, which is a little bit unflattering. And then vice versa. If it's too low, then you're kind of looking up at the camera. And so either way, it doesn't look good. So you really want to make sure that you're eye level. Then you want to check your meeting application settings. So Zoom has tons of settings within the video section, and it can improve the video quality overall. Of course, there are other applications that you can do this as well. But Zoom specifically, I know defaults at 720p, and you can bump that to 1080p. So that right off the bat will improve your video. And then last, Hardwire internet connection. So you might be saying, why am I pixelated? Why do I look so bad? And at the end of the day, you might have great lighting, a good angle, a good camera, everything's correct. But if your internet connection is not solid, then you're going to pixelate and you're not going to look good either. So definitely see if hardwiring is an option when doing something like this. And that was the 4 questions that I saw mainly on the study group. So we're going to wrap up the presentation here, take any sort of questions that you guys may have. Isabella, I don't know if there were any questions that filled in here. I wasn't really watching the chat when talking there.
I haven't seen any just yet. And May, I did send you a DM if you still need help finding a way to add that to your calendar for the next next office hour, the next hug. But yeah, I think, you covered everything great. I definitely know the capture devices can be the tricky bit for people who are just getting started connecting their webcams or their DSLR cameras.
Yeah.
And anyone who is open to using Descript, I will say we have been having a lot of fun going into old videos and improving the audio quality back when we weren't, in the know of what was the best practices. Everything's a learning experience. And now we're going back and we're fixing things and making clients even happier with that. So definitely recommend playing around with it, checking it out, testing it on a couple clips and seeing if it can improve, some of even the videos that you might have on your site already, seeing if it improves it or not, just give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gabriel's saying, can you talk a little bit about using the web cameras as webcams, like what we do with the video stations? Yeah, absolutely. So there's also what we call a video station, basically. So you can take a webcam, you can take those DSLRs or any mirrorless camera, and you can attach it to what we have as a video station. And it's basically an all-in-one device that you just USB plug into your computer and it works. So it comes with a camera. Typically, it comes with an audio source, so some sort of microphone, whether it be like a lavalier microphone or like a podcast microphone like this. And then it also has a little LED light on it as well. So we can drop the link in the chat. We'll pull that up in just a minute. But these are our video stations. They're really useful, and it is an all-in-one solution for you. So yeah, we'll find that extensive link just covering that in a blog post and drop that in the chat in just a minute.
And depending what you're using, I see Gabriel's asking which software do we use. Depending what you're using it with, if you're using it with Zoom or QuickTime, if you're recording a video of yourself, most of those video softwares, recording softwares, they do have the option to toggle between different cameras. So you'll see if you connect your if you connect your DSLR camera, you're going to see an option pop up because not only will it be your built-in camera, which is your laptop camera, but you're going to see a secondary option, which will be the external camera that you just connected. So it's just a matter of toggling between those. But if you are using something different, by all means, bring it into the group chat as well, or into the study group, and we'll be happy to talk about it. But yeah, for the most part, it will be user-friendly once you are able to actually connect it to your laptop.
Awesome. And Gabriel just dropped the link for how to build a professional quality video studio at home. So definitely check out that blog. I walked you through kind of a whole process on how to build that station from start to finish and how to utilize it.
I was just going to say and Aaron is definitely the expert. He's built several of these for clients, but the, at home video studio that Gabriel sent the blog about, it's definitely great because it's plug and play. Once you do get your setup going, I think something that a lot of people have difficulty with is there's a lot of setup time involved in video, and it's a nice way to, if you just have a quick video to shoot, you want it to be high quality, you have your setup made, you have the mic and camera installed, so it's just connecting it to your computer. So once you do have that down, it's an excellent, tool to have handy. So definitely check it out. And again, if you have any questions, we're here to help.
All right. Well, I think we're about to hit our half-hour mark that we always do. So we want to thank everyone that came and attended and watched the presentation. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to go to the Video HubSpot Marketing group and leave those questions there. And we'll be sure to answer those throughout the week. And if you have a good question, I'll definitely highlight in the next office hours. So be on the lookout for that presentation as well. So thanks for everyone for coming.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.